Well, hello again. I'm back again, another edition of Suzy's Las Vegas. And with me today, I have my husband, Steve Lipsky. We're going to learn how to bet on horses. And we're going to also talk about Steve's past with all the winners and the losers and everything else. But we're going to definitely teach you how to bet on horses. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Okay, I thought we were going to talk about owning horses. Okay.
We're going to talk about owning horses. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
okay.
So
Yeah.
let's go for it.
Okay, well, there are 2 or 3 different ways to own horses, and most people think it's very difficult. The way you see in the movies is you go to a ranch somewhere and you find a horse, or you find a horse and a female horse and a male horse, and they mate, and the horse grows up and runs and wins the Kentucky Derby.
Yay!
That usually doesn't happen. There are about, in my time with horses in the 80s and 90s, there were about 30,000 racehorses born every year, and less than half of them ever get to the races because they're not good enough.
Really?
Yeah, and horses can be worth $1 million or nothing. It depends how fast they run. A horse that can run a mile in a minute and 34 seconds might be worth $1 million, and a horse that can run a mile in a minute and 38 seconds is worth 5 or 10,000. So it makes a difference in how well they do at the track. What I did is about 80% of all the races in the United States are something called claiming races. And what that means is you put trainers enter horses into races and for a claiming price, and anybody with a license can claim the horse at the end of the race. Now, when you claim a horse, and that's what I'm going to talk primarily about,
Okay.
When you claim a horse, the original owner gets the purse whatever he runs, but you own the horse at the end of the race. And there's a lot of excitement and and a lot of heartache.
Okay.
If the horse dies on the track, you got to pay to bury it.
Oh, my God.
So and the racetracks, you have to put up the money. You have to put up the money, and personal checks are no good. They only want cashier's checks because they're afraid someone will just say, "Hey, I don't want the horse, and I'm not going to take it." So you can't do that. But claiming horses can be a tremendous amount of fun. You can buy a horse, and 2 weeks later he can run. And
In 2 weeks?
In 2 weeks, and they've had several times I've claimed horses that they run 2 or 3 weeks after after you have them, and excuse me, and if they win, it's very exciting, and it's not very difficult to go into the horse business. All you have to do is get a trainer, and it's not hard to get a trainer. All you got to do is, if you look up on the racing forum, get the phone number of the claiming trainers, because some trainers have $1 million horses, and you're not going to claim a horse for $10,000. They're not going to be interested in that. But there's a lot of claiming races and claiming trainers, and the objective there is to what?
Look at me also.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll look at you. Okay, I like to look at you.
Okay.
Okay, the trainers want to buy horses and claim horses. One of the problems you have is whenever you claim a horse, it tells you how fabulous the horse is before you claim him.
Okay.
Once you get him, they always want to drop him. And
Oh,
that's a
my
very-
God, really?
In other words, if you claim a horse for say
Yeah.
$16,000, it
Yeah.
costs you $17,800 with sales tax.
Really?
Yeah, you got to pay sales tax.
Wow.
And if you run then they want to run them for 12.5. And actually, if they run for 12.5 and win and gets claimed, you lose money.
Oh, no.
Because it costs, this is in the 80s and 90s, it was about $50 a day at the track, plus they always get a new pair of shoes every month for $100.
Oh, yeah? Oh, that's good. Can I get a new pair of shoes every month for $100 too?
But it was 100.
There's the method to my madness, folks.
It's probably 300 or 400 now.
Yeah.
And then you have vet bills, and then you have hauling fees. You go from one track to another, and the owner pays for that.
Wow.
And so the first couple of years I owned horses. I lost my shirt, and I lost a whole bunch of money. But it was deductible in those days too, which was better.
It's not deductible now.
It's a different set of rules. It's more difficult.
Okay.
And that's probably why I got out of it. But then, so at the end of 2 years, I lost some money. I figured I wasn't going to go on horses anymore.
Okay.
But I still had my owner's license. And one day I went to Hollywood Park Racetrack to have lunch.
Yeah.
And a trainer I knew said, Steve, we've never had a horse together. I'll make any kind of deal you want.
Okay.
And he said, I got a horse running in the next race, and he should win. So I put $200 on a horse, and I'm really only a $5 better, but it's a different story.
But you put $200 on.
Yeah, and he won, and then
he got you, didn't he?
Yeah. So no. Then I went back. I had a secretary in those days, and so I prepared a deal that was because I wanted to claim horses that I could move up rather than go move down.
Right.
And that was very important to me.
Well, yeah.
And so I made a very complicated deal with him, and I mailed it to him. I said, if you want to make this deal, we'll do it. Otherwise, forget it. And
Yeah.
so we did. I put, he signed it, and I put $20,000 in a horse account, and I never put any more money in for 7 or 8 years.
You put 20,000 in. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere,
Okay.
folks.
We claimed the horse for $12,500.
Okay.
Which is 13 something after the tax.
Right.
And the horse came in last. I figured, well, that's a dead deal. It's not going to work. But he worked out good. And he won a couple of races and got claimed for 16. So I made some money on that. And I kept on buying more horses on a deal, and it worked. And I won a couple of small stake races with him, and it's really a kick in the head. The biggest, and anybody can do it, by the way. You can just
Okay.
you can just they're not hard to get a hold of. The trainers. A lot of people think they're.
How do you do it? I'm a novice. Okay. How do I do it?
How do you just call 411 and ask for the trainer's number, and you tell them you want to claim a horse, they'll call you right back because
Yeah.
they want to do that. That's what
Okay.
they do.
Okay.
And now you're not going to. Once again, the trainers that have $1 million horses, but if you go to the track and you look at the horses for $10,000 or $20,000 and look at the $1 million horses, they look the same.
What was your favorite racetrack, Steve?
Santa Anita.
Why? I want to know why.
Well, because it's a beautiful track. It's although Hollywood, it's funny about that too.
Yeah. Okay.
I mentioned this to you. The people at Santa Anita there was Santa Anita and Hollywood Park and Del Mar.
Okay.
The people at Santa Anita were much classier than the people at Hollywood Park.
Really?
Yeah, but the people at Santa Anita didn't know what they were doing.
They had money to burn, is what you're trying to tell me.
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful track. I mean, it's looking over.
Is it all year long, or is it?
No. The Santa Anita, what's called the big meet, starts day after Christmas every year.
Okay.
And it lasts until used to be April or May, but now it's because Hollywood Park closed down. And so that'll probably go until June, I would guess, and then Del Mar starts, and that's further away. A lot of people that own horses just want to go when the horses run. Now,
Sure.
I want to do something very different. I went in the mornings sometimes to watch my horses work out,
Okay.
which was
I bet that was fun.
yeah, except that my ex-wife, when she came with me, she wore heels. I said, you can't wear heels there because
Wear sneakers or boots or something.
muddy.
Huh?
Yeah. But anyway,
Yeah.
I was kind of hands-on. Some trainers don't want you to pick out races, and I don't want to. I personally didn't want to deal with those people because I wanted to be involved, and I was. I picked out the races, and not all of them, but most of them, and well, what I was going to say, but they. Where am I?
Most trainers didn't want you to pick out races.
Yeah, some trainers said, I can't. An owner with a condition book is a horrible thing, and so I don't deal with those people. But you can, and you can go there in the morning. I used to go to the stables, walk the horses out to what they call the receiving barn.
Oh, yeah?
And
Now, see, that would have been cool. I would have loved that.
Yeah, well, and then after the receiving barn, I go out with the horse to the paddock where people come and look at the horses.
Yeah.
And claiming is very interesting. There's a lot of if people go to the racetrack in the paddock, they come out. If you want to claim a horse, you got to claim the horse 16 minutes before post.
16 minutes.
16 minutes before post, and that's
okay. Good to know.
Granted, if you can't drop the claim after that, and you notice most of the horses have wraps around the bottom of their legs.
Why is that?
Because the trainers don't want you to see their legs.
Why is that? Okay.
Or because he might have a bow, he might have a problem, and sometimes if a trainer puts a horse in that he doesn't want to get claimed, what they do is they put some tissue or cotton to make it look like he's got a problem with his foot.
Oh, really?
And they do that for real. And sometimes they really want to get rid of a horse, so they don't do that, and they're trying to get you to claim the horse.
Right.
And
well, you learned a lot, didn't you?
oh yeah, it's a very interesting sport, and it's a lot of fun, but it's not perfect. When they're loading in a gate, it's very exciting. Your heart's beating really fast, and they're running in.
I'll bet it is.
When they're coming into the stretch and your horse has a chance to win, you
jumping up and down.
oh yeah.
I would have been doing that.
When I took my friends, my son used to tell my friends, if my dad's horse has a chance to win, stay away from him because you might get knocked down.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But there's also a lot of heartache. One of the biggest problems with owning horses is their soundness. When they
soundness. What is soundness?
That means if they get hurt and they can't run for a while.
Yeah.
And one of the worst things a trainer can tell an owner is you would think the horse can't ever run again. And that's not the worst thing in the world, because you're done with it.
Yeah.
But when he says, the horse is fine, just needs a little time. Now, that's a horrible thing.
Why is that?
I'll tell you why. Because, first of all, you got to lay the horse off. Suppose you paid $16,000 for the horse.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
You lay the horse off, and it's going to cost you $1,000 to $1,500 a month for 6 months. And
is that room and board for the horse? Yeah.
Yeah, recovering. Now, depending where, in Northern California, you can get something for less. In Southern California, it was that much. Okay, so then you're spending about $10,000 at least for, now you're bringing back to the track.
Okay.
So he's got to be at the track for 4 months before he runs. and that's going to cost you a couple of. In
He's
80s
got to be there. Back up a minute. He's got to be there for 4 months.
Well, 3 or 4 months because he's got to work and be able
Okay.
to race.
Okay.
Okay, so that's going to cost you at least for 3.5 to 4 months minimum. That's not the maximum; that's the minimum, and that'll cost you another $8,000 to $10,000 more in training fees.
Mm-hmm.
And then a trainer comes and tells you, well, the horse isn't as good as he was. Why don't we run him for 10? So,
But you paid?
yeah.
Oh, now I get it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's the problem. The biggest heartache is when they get hurt. And you look at them, and when they get hurt, they look at you with their big eyes.
Yeah, sure.
And
well, that you adopted him, you got to take care of him,
yeah,
don't you? Yeah.
That's one of the saddest things in racing is the male horses. The female horses they can reproduce. Male horses are worth nothing, and unless they can be a little girl's jumping horse. And that's another funny story. That a horse that feet are bad because they can't run, they can jump. And it doesn't make any sense.
No,
none at all.
I would think if you couldn't do one, you couldn't do the other.
No, a lot of horses that their ankles are hurt, they can jump over fences. I don't know why this is the case, but they can. And it's a very sad thing with the male horses because a lot of them they go to the killers. When the biggest problem I had, well, yeah, the killers paid $500 for the horses. They make them into dog food.
Oh,
It's horrible. And one of the biggest problems I had is finding homes for the horses.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I wouldn't want to.
yeah, no,
you know how I love animals.
That
would not work.
Sometimes it would take me 6 months to find a home for the horse.
Yeah.
And
If we had him here, we'd have a big ranch, wouldn't we?
well, there are places, and there is a place here in Nevada actually that has is a ranch, and you can
Is it like a
contribute to
rescue
that.
or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're in Las Vegas?
I think there is somewhere. I'm not sure where. I've been out of the loop for 25 years. I stopped when I moved to Vegas. I got rid of my last horses, and I don't.
Do you
I
miss
don't have
them?
anymore. What?
Do you miss them?
Well, I probably would still have some if I lived in Los Angeles, but
Yeah.
it's not. Watching them on TV is not the same
No.
as in person.
Okay.
And then when I was working in Southern California, I'd stop by. Of course, I drove a lot in Southern California in my business, and I'd stop by the track and visit the horses and give them carrots and stuff like that.
Sure.
And by the way, just if you ever want to do this, if you give a horse carrots or food, make sure all your fingers are.
But like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, just
On your hand?
yeah.
Okay.
And the reason is
So it's not up? Yeah.
no, you don't want that.
Yeah.
You know why?
Why?
Because this thing over here
Yeah.
looks like a carrot, and horses' teeth are very strong.
I'll bet they are. They take it with you.
Yeah, so you got to be very careful when you feed them. But I used to feed them all the time. When I would go into the shed row,
Yeah.
the horses, they would see me and they'd start pawing on their feet because
Yeah.
they know they're going to get a treat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. And it's almost when the horses run, it's almost like one of your kids are on a track.
Yeah, sure.
So it was a lot of
Well,
fun.
you had a lot of wins too. I know we have some pictures. Tell me about some of the times when your horses won. Yeah, we've got different ones.
Well,
Yeah.
the best day I had was on that picture. I think that's it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I had two horses in one horse in the first race, one horse, and I won them both. It was a lot of fun. And then a lot of things could happen. I said some expensive horses. I had this. I claimed this horse. Her name was St. Moritz, gray horse.
Yeah.
And according to the form, the owner of the horse paid $360,000 for the horse, and I claimed the horse for $16,000.
Wait, back up. Paid how much?
He paid $360,000. Oh, you can find horses that people paid $1 million, $500,000 for.
Wow.
You get them for nothing. Not for, I mean, for much less.
Okay.
Okay. So what happened is we waited. It had good turf breeding. We waited 3 weeks, and we ran her in a race on a grass. And according to the racing form, the owner that I claimed them from had another horse in a race that he paid $600,000 for, and
Oh my God.
everybody, my friends who went to the races with me, thought we won. We came in third, but his horse came in sixth.
Oh, and he paid.
$600,000. Yeah, people pay a lot of money for horses,
Yeah.
hoping that they can be a stake horse.
Right. Right.
And but it's a lot of fun. But you got to remember there's a lot of heartache. But if you want to own horses,
Yeah.
It's better if you live not too far from the racetrack, so you can visit the horses
Well,
and
sure.
be involved.
Absolutely.
In my view,
I
anyway.
wish we had one in Vegas. There used to be one, right?
Yeah, called Thunderbird Downs, but that
Okay.
was 100 years ago.
Okay. And
Yeah.
it never took place, and did it? It didn't last too long.
I never went there. I just read about it. So a long time ago, probably in the 60s.
What's your most important win, Steve, from the owning them all the way through the whole time that you've had
Well,
them?
I won. I had his horse. He was a heck of a horse. His horse, Count Con. He was a big. He was about 18 hands and
Yeah.
sweet and nice.
Yeah.
And I claimed him for 12.5, and I won. I put him in on a grass race for 62,500.
Oh, my God.
That was the claiming price. The purse was about 40-some thousand,
Yeah.
and I got half of that, so I was ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and 55% they paid her to winner. What the charges are, it's 55% for the win, 20% for second, 15% for third, and 3 or 4% for fourth or fifth, something like that. And and then a jockey fees. A jockey gets, if the horse wins, jockey gets 10% of the win part. If the horse comes in second or third, he gets 5% of what it pays. And if not, there's a fee between $50 and $100 if he runs out of the money. Is what you got to pay the jockey,
Wow.
and that comes right out of your account. They do that, and then a trainer normally on a normal deal, the trainer gets 10% of whatever the horse earns,
Wow.
plus the day rate.
What's the day rate?
Well, the day
See,
rate.
I'm learning all kinds of new
Okay,
things.
the day rate is
Yeah.
it's probably $140, $150 a day now, because it was $50 a day in the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
And 10 years ago, I talked to a trainer. And they were
80s or 90s, $50 a day. It must be at least 150, maybe
Yeah.
200 a day now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and so 200 a day is 6,000 a month.
Yeah.
Okay, plus shoes are probably $200-$300 a pair. I mean,
Okay, now we're back to shoes again. Okay,
well,
Steve, I need that in my allotment.
You got to pay for the shoes because the shoes, they say they have to do it. And then they also, you should never change the horse's shoes the day before a race.
In case they're too tight or something?
Yeah, no, you can do it.
Oh, you
then.
could hurt them.
No, good. They have very thick hooves,
Okay.
but if they don't fit right, so you sometimes in betting horses, if they're changing,
Okay.
okay, if you're playing betting the horses and the horse is getting his shoes, then the chances are the trainer thinks the horse is going to run well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. See,
So
I'm learning all kinds of new
that's
things.
just a little tip that might help.
Yeah.
But if you want to own horses, it's not hard. All you need is the money. And
What would you say it would be now? What would it cost to start with?
claiming prices, oddly enough, the purses are higher now, but the claiming prices are the same as they were in the 80s and 90s.
So it's just more for like the board and more
Yeah,
for
unless
the,
you can
the trainer.
turn a deal with the trainer, and but you want to have you want a good trainer, and
Absolutely.
yeah, well, but and somebody who knows what they're doing and wins races, and because they want to win races because they're in more demand,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
they can get more owners and expand their stable.
Well, let me ask you a question, Steve. Where do you like here? You don't own horses anymore. What do you do now? You're into you play the horses every day.
I just play them.
So say I want to do
just for
that.
amusement.
Okay, Red Rock.
Yeah, within any casino
Okay.
has most casinos have a race book.
Okay, and tell me what somebody needs to do to get started. They go in, and what do you need? Do you need the book to know what's going on?
Racing form. Well, no.
Racing forms?
Yeah, they have something called scratch sheets, which shows the entries and the name of the jockey and the trainer, and then the racing form shows the horse's past performances.
Okay.
And then you look at some horses go to run hard early. Some horses run hard later in a race, and so you figure out how fast the pace is, and if you have a lone front runner, that in other words only one horse likes to go to the front,
Right.
he's got a pretty good chance because nobody's going to bother him.
Right.
If you have two or three front runners and they fight each other, then a horse that's trailing back is going to come back and
And
beat
he'll
him.
go right around him.
Yeah, that's the that's the concept, and but then also the trainers can try and change things with horses, and you don't know what they're going to do.
Okay.
But most people lose money owning horses, and they call it the sport of kings for a reason.
Okay.
And you know what
Sport
the
of Kings.
reason is?
Yes.
You have to have a king's money
To be able to do that.
to be able to do it. But claiming horses, and if you can turn a deal with a trainer, you can do it, and it is very exciting. But there's, like I say, there's heartache. You know, there's bow tendon, for example, could wipe a horse out forever.
Really?
Yeah, and but sometimes a horse has got a problem, and they overcome it, and they can keep on running.
Well, when you're into the racing and all that, do you get into the grass turf, or do they run on the grass, run on the pavement, run
No,
on the
they
dirt?
run on dirt and turf.
Okay.
And one of the things I always look for is
Yeah.
a horse that's running for 16,000 or that has some turf breeding but hasn't run on the turf yet, and then you want to try, because the turf races are usually the purses are higher than the cheap claimers.
Okay.
And so what you really want to do is run for more money, if that's
Well, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and-
That's the game plan,
that's
right?
the game plan.
Yeah.
And I can tell you a lot of stories. I had one horse I remember named Cuban Cowboy. He was running down the hill at Santa Anita. Down the hill is 6.5 furlongs
Okay.
on the grass, and he was a front runner, and he broke 3 lengths back of the field. He
Okay.
broke bad. And I'm looking, all of a sudden, I'm seeing he instead of running back, he won the race. And my trainer didn't think he had a chance.
He won the race.
He won the race, and it was a big purse. It was a $40,000 purse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was very exciting. There's a lot of exciting things about the horses, and I miss it, but I don't miss it enough to buy them when I'm here.
Yeah. Well, it would be hard buying a horse here, and California
Yeah.
would be where the horse is. We'd have to be running over continually,
Yeah,
wouldn't we?
well, but it takes.
Yeah.
Have we finished?
No, keep going.
Okay, it takes it takes 4.5 hours to go to Santa Anita from here.
Yeah.
But in Del Mar, it takes 6.5 to 7 hours, and it's not worth it. So
Yeah. So now you just bet on the horses.
No, I
here.
just bet on a horse. I'm not a big bettor. I don't bet a lot.
Yeah.
And the reason I don't is trainers know everything I know about horses, probably more. They're there at 5 o'clock in the morning, 365 days a year. And some trainers bet and some don't. And betting trainers are almost always broke.
Well, you heard it here first, didn't you?
Yeah, most of them don't have. Most of the betting trainers, they're not.
But if you love the sport,
it's a question if you like it.
It's all about what you love, and it's a great hobby.
Yeah.
But Steve, I'll tell you something. It's really good to see you come out of your shell and talk about things that you love. I'm so glad to have you on the show, and I hope to have you back again. We'll talk some more.
Sure, I might run into you sometime.
Yeah, might do that. Well, that's our show for today, and I hope you loved it. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share Suzy's Las Vegas. That's our show. Bye.